All right. Well, my name is Sarati. I'm also a third year computer engineering major. Um, Graduating December. Uh, and yeah.
Hello, I'm Jerry. I'm also a third year computer engineering. I'm vice president of the SCE, and I'm graduating in December.
No.
Hi, I'm Nanar. I'm a first year software engineering major and I'm a development team member of SCE.
So we have one question in the Q&A.
Okay.
Oh, it just says, I have a question for the civil engineering student.
Man.
So we'll give you one second for you to bring that up.
Okay.
Civil engineering?
Yeah. Evan, can we have you turn your camera to landscape?
Oh, yeah, sure. How do I do that? Like this? Oh. Yeah, there we go.
So would Evan, would you like to talk a little bit about what your club does at SJSU?
Sure. I'm not a civil engineer though, so is there another place for them to answer questions, or is that it?
I
Okay.
don't currently know if we have an ongoing.
What was his question? Maybe we
list.
could still help him though. What was his question?
Yeah, it's not. They didn't ask the question. They didn't finish the question.
Okay. Well, anyway,
so yeah.
I'll talk about my club real quick. So, yeah, simply put, Software Computer Engineering Society. We're basically an open space for, those two majors, software and computer engineering. And we're in the engineering building. We have our own room, and we're open every day. Weekdays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. pretty much. Open to the public. You can come in. We have whiteboards, monitors. It's really just a place to study, network, and meet people who, are also in your major you share classes with. So not only are we do that, we also offer various services to members. If they want to be a member, you get free printing, free 3D printing. So honestly, the membership fee pays for itself. What else do we have? Apart from those two things, we do company tours. We have different workshops on like various programming technologies, and there's even more benefits. But yeah, keeping it short for the average student, it's a great place to be.
Someone just asked, how much is the membership fee? If you're doing one semester, it's $25. If you're doing a year, it's $30. So it's pretty affordable.
Would any of you like to comment on your experience in the club?
The membership fees actually pay off. Like, you get 30 pages of printing every week, and that's, well, if you take full advantage of that, it actually pays off that like $30 per year. And also, we have a hack where people can solder. You don't just have that laying around everywhere. But yeah, it actually pays off.
And if you take it a step further, you can also become like a contributing member, and then you have more opportunities to bolster your resume and do other things like that.
And just on a quick note, for the individual who wanted to ask questions about civil engineering, they're hosting their live Q&A right now, and I'll post that in the chat so that you can go and visit them and ask your question.
Okay, so
so go ahead and continue giving your piece about the club. And
yeah, it's honestly a fun place. So not only are we talking about benefits for members, we also have this program for if you want to become an officer, which is you get all the membership benefits for free, and then you get to join one of our 3 teams. So we have event planning, which is planning all the workshops, company tours. That we have public relations, so running our Instagram, Facebook, sending out emails to faculty, the front face of the club pretty much. And then the most important team, in my opinion, which is the development team. And that's where we have a bunch of different programming projects that are all, we follow industry standards of how to code, working together on something called GitHub, if you guys have heard of that before. Not only that, we're also offering an internship over the summer for incoming freshmen and, just incoming Spartans. So I think we'll touch on that later. But if anybody had any questions about various teams, do you do any fundraising events to consider, oh wait, I'll press the, okay. Do you do any fundraising or also, why can't I read? Hold on. You also consider the club to be a service club. Okay, well, we get money through our membership fees, and we also have a store in our club where we sell snacks. Do you do any fundraising? We take donations from alumni when we can, but we're pretty self-sustained. We're run like a business pretty much. I hope that answered your question. Yeah, Habib, go ahead, answer that one.
Okay, so someone asked, do we work on any projects in the club? So if you're a part of the development team, you can work on like a different array of projects. So right now there's like the SC website. If you join next semester, you can work on tweaking the website, adding some new cool features. There's some more hardware-oriented stuff like the sound project. I think that one's done, but you can also contribute there. And there's also just a bunch of other projects that we're just working on to like offer students.
Yeah, to add on to that, we actually also have a Discord server. We're also starting a Discord project on that. We're gonna make a Discord bot to manage our server. And for what language we use, we actually use a lot of languages. We have used Python, JavaScript, React.js, the whole MERN stack, and proto buffers. That's not really a language, but we use a lot of languages because for web development, it's mostly JavaScript. We use the MERN stack, and there's some things that we have to call using RPCs that requires Python, and then some proto buffers. But yeah,
I don't think they know what that is, Jay.
it's just like a way to connect a remote device.
Yeah. Well, basically, with all that being said, we try to emphasize that the club is open to, anybody regardless of experience. We're not going to turn anybody away, no matter what their major is, year, anything. If you want to contribute, totally can, and we'll get you up to speed. Whichever way works best for you. We're really trying to be supportive to make sure that you get the experience you need, so your resume looks good, and when you leave San Jose State, you have really something cool under your belt, regardless if you're in the industry or not.
Someone asked, do you host hackathons?
Oh yeah, do you want to answer that one for me, man?
We are planning on hosting a hackathon. We were trying to host it this semester, but coronavirus happened, so we'll try to do it next fall instead. I hope that answers the question.
We do have a few CS majors in the club. The question's, although my major is CS, can I join the club? We have a few. One of our next dev team chair, one of them is actually going to be a CS major.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, pretty much, we're open to any major, any experience. That's the point of the development team, is not necessarily to get work done, but really teach people what they need in order to go on and be successful, with programming.
Okay, so someone asked, as an officer, how much time on average do you put into the club? As a freshman, I spent a lot more time getting accustomed to like how to contribute to the club's operation, so how to help work on the website and things like that. So first semester, you don't really spend that much time. You spend more time learning, and so you can contribute later, getting accustomed to GitHub and basically like how to contribute. But a lot of the other third years, like Evan and like Jerry, work on the website a lot, especially during winter break. But it really depends on what projects we have available and what you would like to work on, because it really is based on your motivation.
Yeah. I could ask. I just picked one I could answer. It was about as an incoming freshman, what can you do? So, like I mentioned before, we're going to have a internship, which is, geared towards freshmen incoming Spartans. I sent a link on joining or following our Instagram in the chat. If you could please check out our most recent video. It has to do with the internship. It'll talk about the next steps and what you need to do in order to get started.
The question is, can you give more details on company tours and how you help internships? Basically, we have a whole bunch of open source projects and they look really good on resumes and when recruiters see them, and when you're able to explain basically how your project works from start to end, it looks really good on you when you're being interviewed. And also, one of the things I learned in this club was how to use a Git workflow. One of my interview questions for Western Digital was just straight up, how do you squash a commit, which was something that I learned in this club. So yeah, this club helps a lot with internships, like if you participate in open source. And also we have company tours where we just take people or people drive to companies and then they give us a tour of their campus, and they give us more information about like their internship opportunities and like what it's like working there. We actually visited Tesla, SAP, Facebook, and I think Intuit last semester before coronavirus hit.
So someone also just asked, what does a typical day look like in the club? This one is really just up to your own schedule. Like you can get there in the morning, and then you'll see some people just straggling in early, just getting some studying done. And there's some whiteboards, you can work on them. So you'll probably see some people over there, just like, and you'll also see, because we also have some desktops where you can connect your computer and do some work. You'll see some people coding. There's also going to be some people who are just talking. We do have a small little snack shop, and so you can go over there when you get hungry. But then people are just flowing in and out the entire day. So there's no really set schedule for how a typical day looks like in the club. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I was gonna answer the one about if we play League of Legends in the club. So, as far as that goes, we have a game night. We do those like maybe once a month, apart from also movie nights. So we do social events. As far as League of Legends go, it depends on who's in the club, and maybe if you have friends, they could definitely come through. Another question that I was gonna answer was, rating the programs that we have at San Jose State. It really varies on teacher that you have, the teachers that you take. You could have like one specific class, but then there's like 4 different teachers to choose from. If there's one thing you could remember, from like my advice, is just to have a plan, honestly. If you guys have a plan, like with, what class you want to take, using rate my professor and stuff like that, then I think you'll be just fine. The important thing to realize is that classes, no matter what school you go to, they're probably not going to give you the exact experience that you need to have a job in the industry. So that's where, we try to fill in that gap with the development team, the internship program we're having over the summer, so you feel like you don't need to leave campus in order to gather those things or, get that experience.
I'm going to answer do you host general meetings? And if so, how frequent and how long? We have 2-hour general meetings every month. Yeah, just once a month for officers. I think it's open to members too, but it's usually officers that go.
And I think that answers Mo's question. Are there any regular meetings for the event as well?
I think that one's different because we have multiple events that are not the general meeting. Like we have workshops. Habib and I have hosted some algorithm workshops in the past for job interviews, and Evan wanted to host the spiders workshop. So it's not all technical. It's just like sometimes, uh, but yeah, we have events like workshops, company tours, just fun events like potlucks, and we actually had a game night, virtual game night, 2 days ago.
I wanted to answer the question about who's eligible for the internship program. Like I said before, we're open to all incoming students, doesn't matter, existing students. It's really just about, giving you something to do over the summer. If you didn't get an internship, you can come, you know, join us and we'll put you on with a really cool project. And again, if you want to learn more about, what the next moves are, just follow our Instagram. We put a link in the chat and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you guys there.
Someone asked the question, I'll be a freshman in fall of 2020. Do you have any recommended sources to learn software engineering? There's
Us.
no, yeah, you can come to SCE, join the development team, and we'll give you guys projects and you'll have something like tangible to work on. But really the answer to this question is getting your hands dirty, I guess. Like you have to put yourself in a coding environment. You have to have like kind of like an objective of what you want to learn. Or you could be like Jerry and I. We wanted to learn Python, so we just hopped over to LeetCode and we just answered a bunch of questions, and eventually we kind of learned the syntax and some of the ins and outs of Python itself. And yeah, so just do something practical, choose a project, some coding questions.
Yeah. Yeah, to add to what you said was, it depends on what you want to learn. There's a million different things you could do, so many things you can make. So if there's something you're interested in, like I want to make a website, but you don't know how to, or I want to make a game, just go on YouTube, look up game tutorial in blank, in Python, in JavaScript, whatever it is. Even just following along with your text editor, like, code environment next to the video, that gives you more than you could even imagine, honestly. I got a quick answer for the CEL program for housing. I have no idea what that is, so I can't comment on it. Does anybody, you guys know what that is?
No.
I was gonna answer for the Humanity Honors program because I was actually part of it.
All right.
That one, if you participate in that program, basically it might set you back a semester. But also for me, I just dropped off after the third semester because one of the classic conflicts with is actually your algorithm class, which is like the first class you take all of your software classes. So if you take that class, if you can't take that class until your third year, then it sets you back a semester. So I would recommend the Humanities Honors program just because you learn a lot, but also you would probably have to drop off after the third semester, even though it's a 4-semester program. Don't worry, you still get units. You just have to take your history classes separate.
I need to add to what Jerry says. There is this service that's offered by SJSU called CLEP, CLEP. It's a test that you can take where you can test out of a bunch of different general education classes. So if you don't feel like spending, 4.5 months on Spanish, 4.5 months on biology, just look it up. CLEP exam. I took 2 and I got 9 units from it. It's honestly a steal. So I'll type it out in chat real quick. Yeah, ooh, I typed COEP. Sorry about that. Yeah, CLEP exam. It's kind of like the AP test, and there's a lot of resources online that's free, and you can really get out of a lot of classes that you might not want to spend so much time on. You can study on your own.
I'm gonna answer what's a good laptop to use as a software engineering student. It doesn't really matter about your laptop. It's the way you set it up. For most of us, we have our laptop set up to be dual booted. So we have a Linux operating system and a Windows operating system. Evan mostly uses his Linux operating system, but Linux is really useful for like just controlling your just coding in general, developing. It's a lot better than Windows. Just the commands, using the command line is a lot more smoother. Windows is more like if you're a gamer, you want it to be fast, then yeah, use Windows. A good laptop, I think mine's pretty good. I have a Dell Inspiron 5000.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if you're gonna get something that has Windows originally or Mac, they're both fine. You should be able to get away with it. My personal preference is I don't really like using Windows to write code. You can do what Jerry just said, which is adding a second operating system. If you're not sure how to do that, just come see us and Fall will help you out. Okay, I'm gonna answer the question now. So first one is it easy to manage workload and the projects? The answer to that is yes. It depends on, how you manage your time, honestly. So, if you're someone like me, I always like trying to get my homework done, ASAP. And, having some sort of planner, a calendar, that really helps. So it's all about how you manage it. And, yeah, it's definitely doable. It's not impossible. Okay, next one is, do you have any recommendations for SE student? Yes, so definitely eat 3 meals a day. Get some outside time, when you can, and just breathe. And also, have good posture when you sit down. All right.
So the question is, how is the placement rate for who are competing these programs? I'm gonna assume it's like competing for classes. Going back to the Humanity Honors question, Humanity Honors gives you priority registration. So I actually never had to fight for my classes, but I know some people had because their registration date was later. Basically, they give priority to the seniors. So if you're of a junior standing, senior standing, you'll have an earlier registration date. It's just basically how many units you have. For freshmen and sophomore, it might be more difficult. I know people who have actually not been able to get into some classes because they're full. If they're full, then you have to go into the class first day of school, go early, and then ask for an add code, and then add the class.
Yeah, good answer, Jay. I'll cover a quick one. How is C++ different from Java? So C++, the syntax, so how you write the language is different. It's a lot more flexible than Java, I would argue. It's faster than Java, but they both have different purposes. So you can learn them both at the same time, and you can figure out which one you like more. Okay, another one is, how difficult is it to change majors from any other major to the one that we're in? It really depends. So there's kind of like 3 main situations you could be in. You could either be undeclared, you could be a non-engineering major, or you could be an engineering major. The easiest way to transfer in is if you're in an engineering major, and what they'll do is they'll tell you you need to take like 5 classes in order to transfer. And then when you take those 5 classes, this is for all 3 situations, right? It'd be like some math, physics, some programming class. They take all the people who have taken those 5 classes trying to transfer in, and they arrange them in a list. And basically, whoever has the highest GPA, up to a certain point, because they can only let a certain number in, they let those guys in. So, if you're trying to transfer in, it's not impossible. You got to make sure that with those 5 classes that you take, you get the best grade possible, and you'll get in. Yeah, one more thing I got to add is I came to San Jose State not as a software engineering major. I came as a materials, and I transferred in. But, I had to get good grades in those classes, and then I was able to get in just fine.
Someone asked a question, are there any commitments as a member of the club besides the fee? If you just want to be a regular member, you don't really have to contribute anything to the club. You can join the workshops whenever you want. It's really just up to you. But the moment you take any other responsibilities, like you try to become an officer, then you have more responsibilities and commitments. You have to get your project done. You have to get some assignments done. But that's about it. If you're just a regular member, there's no real commitment on you.
Okay, I'm gonna answer the question that's asking, how would you rate the environment at SJSU, and are most of the students helpful? Do they interact with each other, and do you have good dorm life? Your experience at SJSU really depends on what you make of it. From what I experienced in the dorms, it's really, you can't wait for people to approach you and make friends with you. You've got to go out and do it yourself. Meet people on your floor. A lot of the dorms are more sociable than others. Like I know Joe West is much more tight knit when it comes to like each floor. Everyone knows each other. In comparison to CVC, which is a suite style. So not as many people have their doors open because when the doors open, it's to a little living room area, not to a specific room. So it really depends on one, where you're living for good for dorm life, and two, pretty much what you make of it. If you go out and talk to others on your floor, then it really will help you enjoy dorm life. I know a lot of people have issues with roommates and things like that, but really if you try to make the best of the situation, you'll have a good first year. I know with my roommates, me and them didn't talk for the first 3 weeks or something, and it was kind of miserable because I didn't know anyone else at the school, so it was kind of difficult. But after I of course joined the club and got to meet other people in my major, and then I got more accustomed to my roommates by reaching out to them and talking to them and going out and joining the club and being a part of projects, it made it a lot easier to transition to college from high school. So yeah, the environment at SJSU is as welcoming as you pretty much as you want it to be. If you're going out and joining clubs and interacting with others, people are willing to interact with you.
Hey, good question. Good answer. Good answer. I got a question. I'm gonna answer from Vince, and he's talking about how proficient you have to be in programming in order to show up. And then he was also saying that if you want to transfer between EE and computer engineering, basically, which one's better for working on more computer hardware? So first one is you don't really need to know programming coming into San Jose State because all of the classes, when they say intro to blank, it's really intro to whatever that topic is. You'll be just fine. And if you want to work on more computer parts and learn more about like the design behind them, you could do computer engineering. EE is just as fine. You're going to be doing circuitry, which I think you said you liked.
All right, so someone just asked the question, how busy is the first year workload as a compy major? And this really just depends on your classes. I took Math 32, Physics 50. Like I took all my prereqs, so it wasn't that bad.
Wait,
But
you
I
should
think,
let them know what classes those are. Like, what is
oh,
that?
Math 32, so like multivariable. I took Physics 50, which is like kinematic physics with I think calculus based. And then I took some other math classes and stuff. So I think compared to other freshmen, my workload was a little bit higher, but I didn't take any like programming stuff in my first year at SJSU. So for me personally, that wasn't that busy, but if I took some other courses, then it would probably be busier. So
The question is, in addition, my school only offered Java. Would I be at a large disadvantage if I never learned or worked with C++? They teach you C++ from the bottom up here. Intro to programming, just all C, and then copy 50, I think that's intermediate programming or something. That's all C++. But honestly, if you know Java, you should be able to know C++. It's just different languages, different syntax. If you know the overarching concept, it wouldn't be too difficult. Next question, being a local, would you recommend staying in a dorm for the first year? Oh, I'm a local and I stayed in a dorm for the first year. It was a wild experience. And then I would recommend it. It gives you the dorm life experience. And then my second year, I went to an apartment and now I'm home again. So, it's just like, it's for the experience.
Jerry, what
Yeah.
dorm were you in?
I was in CVC. I think it's the one the NAR's in.
Yeah, I'm also local. I live like 20 minutes from campus, but I stayed in the dorms my first year, just to pretty much get the college experience and see what it's like. And it really helped me, like, because I know a lot of commuters have difficulties staying for events and things like that, because San Jose outside of the campus is not the best area, so they want to leave early to be able to avoid that. So being able to stay on campus what made it easier to attend events and pretty much like join a bunch of things on campus to be more involved, and it got me to find some really good friends as roommates. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it if you can.
All right, I'm gonna answer a question from Christina, and it's: did you take the calculus plus exam? When's the best time to take it before school starts? I didn't take it. Maybe someone else could say if they did, but I had friends who took it, and they took it in August, and they did pass and they get out of it. So I think if you did well in AP calculus, which I mean you'd probably already get out of it, but take it. Just do it. Just do it. I think if you really try, you'll get out of there. And August seemed like the best time. All right, I'm gonna go again. This one's from Ashish. I think that's how you pronounce it. Are company fairs helpful to get a job? Do you know how many students got jobs in this graduating class? So job fairs are really just a place where you get to meet people from the company. And if you go there handing someone your resume and expecting them to, follow up with you later on to get a job, it's pretty unlikely. They get maybe 300 pieces of paper. It's kind of hard to sort through them all. The best advice I can give you for job fairs is know what companies are going to be there, right? So let's say, Facebook's going to be there, Google, Dell, whatever. Apply online already. So the key is to apply for the job online before you show up. And then when you get in line to talk to those recruiters with your resume, just say, hey, I already applied online. And then just go about, trying to make a good impression, get to know them a little bit, add them on LinkedIn. That's how it becomes helpful to get a job. How many students got jobs in 2020 class? I have no idea. But if you have a good resume, you'll get a job.
Just want to
Wait,
add
to that on. Oh, okay. You go.
so just to add on, if you get someone's contact information, like you get their LinkedIn or any other information, you should probably follow up with them maybe like a week or so after. And after you apply, it's a good idea to follow up with your application to show that you're interested, and it can sometimes help you out. And Jerry.
Yeah, definitely.
To add on to the job thingy, actually, people in the SCE, a lot of them actually have internships. Joining the SCE gives you a lot of stuff on your resume. So if you look at our past history, a lot of our presidents actually went to Google, Facebook, really good companies to work for.
And then there's another quick question. What are math requirements for compy major? I'm assuming that's compy. But really, I found if you go search up computer engineering and you just search up BS, SJSU, it should show up like a sample plan or like some requirements. And over there, it just says that there's 5 requirements for math. So you have Math 30, which is Calc 1 or like Calc AB, Math 31, which is Calc BC, and then Math 32, which is like multivariable. Then you have discrete math, and you have and then you have differential equations and linear algebra. You can get a math minor and take more math classes, but those are just the requirements for computer engineering.
Oh yeah, for the math minor thing, I actually took Math 161A, which is statistics, in replacement of my major statistics class, and also number theory class, which helps a lot with cryptography. I took those 2 classes to grab a math minor. So
Yeah.
like 2 extra classes, that's a math minor.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that if you're interested, if you want to get a math minor, just getting a math minor really depends on if you like math. If you think it's going to give you some sort of advantage after college, it's not really, So, if you really like math, go for it. Otherwise, there's no real extra benefit, I'd argue.
Okay, next question. What do you wish you knew as an incoming freshman? There's a lot of things I wish I knew, because I actually started to join all these clubs in my sophomore year, junior year. As a freshman, I wish I knew about SCE. That's the first thing. The second thing is there's also robotics. Robotics is actually a really good place to learn other stuff, like how to actually build something. And then there's also ICPC, which is competitive programming. It actually helps a lot with your coding skills because you get to have a chance at like trying out for real world applications of coding, pretty much. Yeah.
Just a quick add-on to what Jerry just said. Um, that's actually one of the biggest things that I wish I also knew, like joining clubs, trying to put myself out there, like robotics, SCE, just like try new things and to get like a different exposure from programming than just sitting at home and like looking at YouTube tutorials and stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna knock out 2 questions because they're starting to pile up. This first one's from Ashish, and it's what is the ratio between teachers and students for SE and Comp classes? By the way, it's not CE, that's civil engineering here. It's CMPE. That's how we refer to Comp. So like in the future, that way it'll help. Anyway, it really depends on what class you take. Some classes will have like 30 kids, like high school. Other classes you'll have like 140. It depends on what topic is being taught and how many professors are available to teach it. So it really varies. Next one's from Rocky. What's up, Rocky? Are there any disadvantages to dual enrollment? There's no disadvantage. It's actually an advantage because you can take classes that might conflict with your schedule at San Jose State, and you might take them at community college. And another advantage with that is you might have a better teacher, or maybe it's offered online where you can only get it in person at San Jose State. Just some. I think it's a really good thing to do. Dual enrollment's a good idea.
So someone asked the question, so do most upper division courses actually involve programming? I'm going to enter as a transfer student. This is depends on your major. If you're doing computer engineering, most of your courses will involve some form of programming. It might not be the type of programming that you're comfortable with. So there's things like assembly that you'll have to take, and then I'm doing C in my embedded systems classes, and I'm not really comfortable with that, but like I'm getting used to it. And then there's also like Verilog, and there's just C++, and then for your data structures, algorithms, upper division classes, and then for web development, I think you have the option for JavaScript and one other Python or something like that. And Jerry or someone else can add on to this.
Yeah, my classes I've used Verilog, Python, C, C++, and yeah, I've used 4 languages total in my classes, and then SCE, JavaScript. So yeah, there's a lot of languages that you're gonna use since it is a engineering or software computer engineering major.
Denard, you can answer one.
Yeah, someone asked where can I get help for general education, math, and physics courses? Those are the classes that I'm taking now, and a lot of the teachers preach a bunch of tutoring opportunities and things like that. So for for physics, there's peer connections, and a lot of the teachers have teaching assistants that host SI sessions that are just separate sessions where they give you more problems to practice and basically learn the material. I know in my multivariable calculus class, my professor told us to join peer connections, which is another tutoring opportunity. And I know SCE, anyone's really willing to help you if you ask, because they've all taken those classes. So yeah, pretty much anywhere, peer connections, the library has late night tutoring. Some professors host SI sessions, basically just like workshops.
Watch
Also
YouTube.
join workshops. Yeah, watch YouTube. Just the workshops are very helpful as well. Yeah.
I want to answer the what is ICPC and are there any other tech clubs in SJSU?
Go
No.
fast, Jerry. Go fast.
So there's ICPC, robotics, SE. Those are the main 3 I'm in. ICPC, what it is it's a programming competition club. So it's actually nationwide, it's actually global. So last year we went against like schools like Stanford, Berkeley, a whole bunch of like pretty high-ranking schools, and SJSU actually placed really well. We had a team in 7th place, and my team was in 11th, and there's like 100-something teams. So yeah, that's ICPC.
All right, for sure.
All right, I wanted to knock out 2 really fast. So first one is from Anonymous, and they're asking about transferring majors and what happens if these 5 classes that you got to take if there's any conflicts. So most important thing is when you're trying to transfer majors, or really anytime you're scheduling classes, have a plan. San Jose State, they open up the class schedules like how much in advance before we actually have to register? Do you guys know?
Like I just found a class schedule right now, and I think we have registration opens up on like the 28th.
Yes, like how much time is it between seeing the classes and then the like registration?
At
It's
least
about a
How
month.
much time is that?
a month to half a month.
Yeah, so you have a month to plan for the class that you want to take, and then they're asking about what if I want to take like my major classes with these things I got to transfer with. If you really want to transfer, just go all in and just take those classes. Like just really just like go for it. You just need to get like the best grade possible. If there's any conflicts, just see if you take the equivalent at a community college. I think you got it. You'll be fine. Okay, next one is from another one from Anonymous. Is there a guide as to what classes we should be signing up for during Spartan camp? Is that orientation? I don't know what Spartan camp is, but if anybody knows what that is, you can chime in. But do we need to know beforehand? No, yeah, you should know beforehand. Like I think Habib just mentioned before, there's a roadmap for what you need to take. And how do you sign up for the placement test? Just go on Google. You'll be amazed on how many resources there are for San Jose State.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to quick answer like 3 questions. So the second question was a continuation from Vince. I'm not really sure what content credit really means. I would suggest you email a counselor at SJSU regarding to your major about that. So another question that I wanted to answer was, will there be a lot of struggling if calculus isn't a strong suit? Not really. You'll probably be struggling for maybe like physics at most, or like the beginning portion. The calculus does come up, so again, but that's more in your theory-based classes relating to hardware. But if you're focused on programming, not really. And then I've heard EE98 was known to be difficult at SJSU. Is it really that difficult? And do you recommend to take it at a nearby CC? EE98 was pretty hard, but we kind of like the final is cumulative, and it takes away your midterm exam grades if you do good on it. So if you do better on the midterm, if you do better on the final than you did on the midterms, it overwrites your grade. So when you're taking it, I would recommend to take it here. It's really not that bad. It's just you have to do a lot of self-studying to understand it, and just do good on the final if you don't do good on the midterms.
Okay. Sorry, I gotta interrupt you because we're running out of time. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing to add. If you guys have questions and we're running out of time, our Instagram link is in the chat. Just DM us. Just DM us and we'll answer it. Okay.
So yeah, so thank you for joining today's session. Thank you for all your excellent questions. If you have any further questions, you can go ahead and reach out to them on Instagram. You can also email our engineering@sjsu.edu email if you have any other questions. They also just posted a Discord server link in the chat. But at this time, I'd like to invite you to exit this meeting and visit our other sessions that will be coming up, just so that you can look around and see other viewpoints and other departments at engineering. Thank you for your time, and congratulations at being accepted as a Spartan. We look to see you in the fall.
Yeah. See you guys.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.